Jon Stewart did something that was rather surprising, if I don't say so myself. He decided to appear on far-right fake news network Newsmax. Really, really interesting. You know, if I was like his friend or I was advising him, I'd be like, why are you going to do this? It seems like a bad idea. I mean, these people make Fox News seem more legitimate and credible with how out there they are. Remember, when Fox was very hesitant early on to jump onto the Stop the Steal bandwagon, the rigged election bandwagon, Newsmax, One American News were all in, right? Like zero scruples, pandering to a far-right audience. That's just what they do. That's what they do. These networks are for people that think Fox News is too liberal. I mean, it says so much. But listen, Jon Stewart decided to go on, and it turns out if I was advising him, I would have been wrong to say, hey man, there's no reason to go on there. Watch what ends up happening when he's presented with some standard, warmed over Republican talking points, and watch how he dismantles the host.
But I did want to point out, just to push back a little bit on this. So the Republicans, when you say what you said, they do not support veterans. The Republicans push back saying there is unrelated spending within this.
It's not. It's just not true. What they're saying is they don't like that it's mandatory as opposed to discretionary. There isn't unrelated spending to it. They're saying there could be if there wasn't oversight, but that's what the Senate's job is. The bill itself is incredibly detailed and prescriptive about what it's for. It's about treating and preventing the different conditions that veterans are coming home with, including cancers and chronic bronchiolitis and all these other issues from their exposures in Iraq and Afghanistan. And to push back on what they're saying, what if this creates a slush fund, right? So are you familiar with something called the OCO, the Overseas Contingency Operations Fund?
Fairly, yes.
That guy has no idea what that is, by the way. I have no idea what that is. This is amazing. By the way, it is such a boss move to be like, yeah, I'll do an interview on your news network from my car holding an iPhone. Oh my, Jon Stewart's nuts are straight up swanging in this. Like this boss on top of boss within boss wrapped in bossness.
So every year, $50 billion, $60 billion, $70 billion is added to what's called the OCO on top of the $600 billion, $700 billion, $800 billion that goes to the Defense Department. That OCO fund is actually a slush fund. $60 to $70 billion every year. No oversight, no guardrails. And every one of those Republicans that voted against health care for veterans voted for the slush fund for the war. They don't support the troops. They support the war machine. And that's got to stop. The value in the U.S. military isn't in the toys. It's not in the hardware. It's not in the tanks. It's in the men and women. And until they start supporting them in the manner that they purport to online, they are hypocrites.
He's just masterful at this, dude. By the way, I took note of this, the ticker here at the bottom, because normally when they have on somebody like Jon Stewart, they'd put some snarky, pithy thing that takes a shot at him underneath it. But you'll see here, it says comedian Jon Stewart lobbies for veterans. And then it goes on to say, Jon Stewart, veteran activist. And then it goes on to say, comedian Jon Stewart pushes for healthcare access for veterans. So I honestly don't know if they're putting this thinking, well, this is going to be a known, this is going to be a gotcha because he's trying to make the government bigger by trying to make veterans access healthcare and stuff, bro. Or if this is actually the first time in Newsmax history that they're being honest and they're putting that there, or if an executive producer there, for whatever reason, likes Jon Stewart, so he gave him a positive thing at the bottom. I don't know, but he's so good at dealing with the right and disarming them. And by the way, this is how Jon Stewart helped originally win on the fight to get the first responders on 9/11 healthcare, is that you had the Senate was voted it down or was dragging their feet. And then Jon Stewart got on his high horse and worked with MSNBC and Fox News and conservatives and liberals and leftists and got everybody together and sufficiently created outrage over it to the point where from MSNBC to Fox News, they were all agreeing with Jon Stewart on what do we do? Of course, the first responders deserve health care. And they whipped the government into shape and they went ahead and did what they were supposed to do. It was the same thing. I mean, we just covered the fight recently. Remember when Ted Cruz and Jon Stewart were going at it? I'm blanking on the name of the bill right now, but the bill was for health care for veterans who were exposed to toxic burn pits. And Republicans voted against it. They were like, yeah, we're against this. And so Jon Stewart just ripped into them viciously and basically scared their asses into line and made it so that the next time the bill came up, it passed. And it came up very quickly again after that because of all the pressure that he put on them, which then led to the media joining in with Jon Stewart and putting pressure on them. And he's like doing this in real time. He's saying these people are liars, opposing healthcare for veterans. Let me explain to you how they're lying and what, even if I steelman their argument, here's what they mean, but here's why it's not true. And I mean, this Newsmax host is, first of all, he looks like a Ken doll who they made come to life. And he's not equipped to deal with this. You think this guy knows how to do the mental jujitsu with Jon Stewart? No, of course not. So he's just sort of deferring to him here. And this is something that's first time ever. The Newsmax audience is actually learning something positive. So anyway, I mean, the guy is a national treasure, man. I might not agree with him on everything, but God, overall, his impact on the body politic has been phenomenal. And only Jon Stewart can go into the lion's den at Newsmax and then walk away with a flawless victory Mortal Kombat style. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.